Stokers, welcome to this episode. So pumped to have you on. We got Noelle Perdue on. Excellent guest, so fired up. It's a banger episode. So stoked you guys are here. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all that good stuff to keep boosting this new YouTube channel. Speaking of YouTube, we got our new series. Episode 2 just premiered. So psyched on it. We got Bobby Lee on the episode. Make sure you check it out if you want to get stoked. Also, tour dates coming up. I'm going to be in Chicago next. That show is nearly sold out, so if you haven't gotten tickets, make sure you get them now. I'm hoping to get a late show, but we will see. And then we got my one-man show is also going to be in LA on January 31st at Jam in the Van. Then JT and I are going to be in Bozeman. 3 shows. Make sure you get on that. Then I will be in Denver. And then we got Greeley, Colorado, Casper, Wyoming, Colorado Springs. JT and I will be in Washington, D.C. March 12th through the 14th. Then Cincinnati, Columbus, back in LA for my one-man show. And then San Francisco, March 25th. And then San Diego, April 9th. Get your tickets at chadandjt.com. Let's start the freaking show. Stokers of Stoke Nation, this is Chad Kroger coming in live, broadcasting from Los Angeles, California. I'm here with my compadre, Jean Thomas. What up?
Boom clap, Stokers.
And we're here with our guest, Noelle Perdue.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
We're stoked.
So you're a writer?
I'm a writer.
You're a public intellectual?
Wow. I mean, your words, not mine.
And what is your subject of expertise?
I call myself a porn historian, which is sort of made up, but has become real. And most of my work is about how pornography and the history of pornography has influenced culture, legislation, and technology.
Right. And then so how far back do you go with your porn history?
I tend to focus on internet pornography, or the rise of internet. I guess like the end of the golden age, I would say, and the beginning of internet porn. I find a really influential period for legislation and kind of just like cultural dynamics around pornography. So I tend to kind of focus on that region. I talk about golden age. I talk about pre-golden age a little bit. I talk a lot about kind of.
And what are the boundaries for years on those ages?
Golden age is 70s and 80s, so it's like classic.
Like Deep Throat and then like the
Exactly.
Taboo stuff.
Yeah, Deep Throat is a classic golden age movie. The stuff that would show in theaters,
Right.
and kind of like they would have premieres in porn theaters. The golden age porn industry worked pretty much in tandem with the mainstream film industry, and then with internet pornography, it kind of changed the entire economy of porn, and that had so many ripple effects that it tends to be what I focus on.
Just because it shifted the behavior so much, like the way that it was performed. Like there was no public element anymore, and it was more ubiquitous, but it was more private at the same time.
Are you referencing my 4-4 piece? I just wrote about this.
Did you?
I did. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I think
I have been reading your stuff, so maybe it was, it is, I'm quoting you.
Potentially, or I mean, it's true though. I think that one of the really interesting things that has happened is that pornography and at one point internet porn, and now I would argue kind of generative technologies are creating kind of new systems of privacy, particularly around sexual desire and fantasy. So porn consumption in the kind of 70s or 80s, you would have to interact with people if you wanted to get porn.
Like go to a theater?
You would have to go to a theater.
Oh, and go to a store.
You'd have to go to a store. You'd have to ask to go behind the curtain. You would, maybe order a VHS, things like that. You would have to interact with somebody. And then with internet porn, that kind of became a really isolated experience. And there's even kind of like you can draw lines between the desktop computer, which had a browsing history.
And was often shared with family members or friends.
Exactly, yeah. It was shared. It was like a semi-public machine. And then now we have personal computers, personal devices. So even like the concept of somebody seeing your browser history is kind of old fashioned. And now we have these generative technologies where, you know, it's not even people making what you're watching, you know, like from the user experience, you're not interacting with anybody whatsoever.
Yeah, I found that really interesting reading your work and listening to you, that you're a big supporter of porn. Like, you think it's human expression, it's art, it's healthy for people to find out what their fantasies are and to kind of interact with those fantasies. And then you've done a switch, though, where you feel like AI is going to provide too much privacy around fantasy and it removes too much of the human element. But it was interesting to me because I've heard that same argument around the porn you are supportive of, where it felt like when I was growing up, that was the argument that was made against porn, was that it was making us not pursue sex in real life, that it was hindering our ability to connect with another person. But you feel like that was maybe overstated, but with AI, you think it's actually going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that those arguments can be true for some people's consumption of pornography, particularly if people are watching or consuming porn without kind of like a measured understanding of the porn industry and porn performers as people specifically. I think that is true. If you don't see porn performers as people, absolutely, porn consumption can affect the way that you interact with people. But for me, the answer to that is to have a better understanding of porn performers and the industry as a human industry. Whereas with generative content, there really is no human element. There's no ability to humanize it because it is inhuman. And that is where I think we've kind of crossed over a boundary. I did see somebody in chat say some people still watch porn on public computers, and they said that their mom works at the library and that's how they know that. And I just want to say that my mom also works at a library and that's how I know that. I do agree that people do that still, but it is very frowned upon and you will be kicked out of the library.
Yeah, I go to the library. I go to the library almost every day, but there's not a ton of porn at the library I go to.
No, they try to,
they're policing that a bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely stuff that you could bring home. I think that watching porn on the public screens is definitely frowned upon, and I frown upon it. Anywhere that's a public space, like, I think anything of a sexual nature in a space where children could be is a big no-no. Yeah. To be explicit about that.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this pod, it's gonna be heavy on the porn and sex talk. So if you're with your kiddos, maybe put the earmuffs on them or change the channel.
Yes.
It's interesting what you said though, that like, so you think the kind of negative consequence of watching too much porn is forgetting that the porn stars themselves are performers and artists and have like a life beyond.
No, I don't think that is a consequence of watching porn. I think that is a consequence of very poor education around sex, sexuality, and pornography consumption. And pornography as a media product, there is almost no conversation or education around pornography. And I think that is a result of that lack of communication. It's not because of watching porn that you lose the ability. Like, it's something that has to be developed kind of even outside of your actual consumption of porn. Right.
So like a way to develop a more healthy relationship to it would be more conversation around like how it's made.
Definitely. I think that more conversation around how it's made, I think more curiosity. I think many people consume porn in this really kind of specific and compartmentalized way where it's just like when they want to jerk off, and like as soon as they finish, there's that kind of thing of like
get it away from me.
Yeah, get it away from me. And even like there's some shame or feeling weird about what you're watching. And I think that's a shame. And I think that is sort of like a symptom of being divorced from what you're consuming, if there's like some level of cognitive dissonance between what you're consuming and how you're thinking about it. So just generally, I think more curiosity, actually looking into the performers that you like, outside of the 30-second clip you're watching on Pornhub.
Do some background research.
Yeah.
What does she like to do in her spare time and stuff?
Sure.
I'm a completist, so I would do stuff like that. But that gap that you're talking about between like being drawn to it and then wanting to get away from it, do you think that was a consequence of just like societal development, or do you think there's some kind of evolutionary function to that?
I don't think that there's an evolutionary function to feeling disgusted by your own
I
sexuality.
think there might be, because it's so persistent and it's been around for so long.
I mean, I think, like, how
and
do
I
you
don't-
mean it's persistent?
I'm not Richard Dawkins or something, so I don't know exactly how I would prove it on a true level. But I wonder if there is some kind of like mechanism in having shame that allows you to do better in your life.
Okay, so you're arguing that
Am I in the
post-nut
weeds too
clarity is sort of an evolutionary mechanism.
Kind of, yeah.
I disagree with that. I think that it's certainly probably an evolutionary advantage to not be like singularly sex-minded, for sure. But I don't think that the sense of disgust and shame that you have or you're expressing around sex is productive. I think
Right.
it's destructive, actually. And you know, ideally, if you have a positive sexual relationship with another person, with a form of media, you're not feeling disgusted by yourself at having that relationship.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. You had a great quote in one of your pieces about that for you the most perverted kind of sex was missionary eye contact with someone you love.
Yeah, I stand by that.
Really? Why?
Absolutely. I think I like to analyze what makes something erotic, like what are the mechanisms that make something erotic, and risk is a huge mechanism of eroticism, and I think that there is no riskier sex than you can have other than with somebody who you like truly love that could like ruin your life kind of thing. Like there's so much deep vulnerability in building a relationship with somebody, and sex so often is an expression of that vulnerability. It's, you know, an inherently vulnerable place to be physically, and then when you kind of add this high level emotional vulnerability on top of that, that's perverted. That's true perversion, you know?
And you mean that because of the amount of risk involved, because you're really putting your life on the line when you do that.
And that's what makes it good. Like that's what makes
Right.
sex with somebody that you love so good is, I believe, that sense of risk of like you are holding, you know, my well-being in your hands.
So what do you mean by perversion?
I think just like, you sick fuck. You get it. I have a pervert necklace. I'm very pro perversion.
Yeah,
like,
this is like a rebrand that you're doing on the. It's sort
it's
of
not
like
even. I had this for like 7 years.
not your own personal rebrand. I mean on the word pervert.
I think I like definitely still have mixed use. Like I understand that pervert has like negative connotations, but I have adopted pervert pretty enthusiastically. Absolutely.
So do you think it's kind of like having a positive sort of having a positive mindset around your sexuality?
Kind of. I'm kind of pervert neutral, I would say. Like I think a lot of what I define as like my own perversion is a product of like deep neurosis and like the things that I struggle with personally that kind of like bleed into my own relationship to sex and sexuality, and like I have a complicated relationship to it.
Right.
It's not like something that I find empowering necessarily, or I'm not rebranding it as empowering. I think it's just like true for me. And also there is a little bit of an element of empowerment because sometimes in my work I talk about I struggle sometimes with what people kind of expect my relationship to sex and sexuality might be, which I think people anticipate it to be very free and casual and open and relaxed, and I'm none of those things. I'm a deeply unchill person, highly neurotic, and I have a very complicated relationship with sex actually, and I think that kind of embracing the term pervert is almost like preeminently kind of anticipating that I'm not going to meet somebody's expectations, that like I'll almost like be in some way like a bit disappointing in terms of like what people are hoping from me, and yeah, being a pervert is kind of like situating yourself as something unexpected, which is a relief.
Gotcha.
Right. And the quote that I gave was part of an article you wrote about Brian Johnson, who's the longevity guy, the billionaire who's trying to live forever and conquer death. And you kind of drew a correlation between him trying to conquer death and also, which is, I wasn't even aware of this like subculture, that like tech bros are really into BDSM.
Yeah.
And you thought like him trying to conquer death, which was kind of like him trying to control risk, that's why they're so into BDSM, is that these guys are kind of control freaks and they're trying to like metric out any risk when they have sex.
Well, I think that it is like truly fascinating that there is a real culture of I guess like non-normative sex, BDSM heavy sex in the Bay Area, which when I went to the Bay Area and I did experience that, a lot of people were asking me about, and they're like, is it true? Hey, is it true? And that was kind of like what people were most titillated by. And also they were so like unsure about it. And I find, and I said this in the article, I find like kind of like weird sex to be a boring point of analysis for a group of people or a person. I think that there's a lot of reasons why people like to have non-normative sex. But I think in this case, it is really interesting that it's paired with this very intense desire to cheat death and become immortal. And sorry, even the terminology that they use is that they want to solve death. They want it to no longer exist. And obviously death is like the biggest risk. And they're so singularly focused on eliminating the biggest risk, but they are so passionate about introducing this kind of like play pretend risk into their intimate lives. And yeah, I do find that there absolutely is a correlation to that, because I am a big believer in that risk is what makes sex fun. You know, it's vulnerability, it's intention, it's anticipation. And if you remove all the risk out of sex or out of life, it's not interesting anymore. You go crazy.
Yeah. I'm not, I have a issue with the desire to be immortal. I just think it's obviously unnatural. I've always, I just don't, I think there's a quote that they're like, living is hard, dying is the easy part.
Yeah.
And I don't, to me, I just don't understand why someone would want to live forever. You know, it just doesn't, it's a part of life.
Yeah. I think I have so much death anxiety, which is kind of what I explored in that article, is that I actually do really struggle with health anxiety and the concept of death. And like, I've had like a couple major kind of grief experiences in the last little while that were definitely transformative for me. And part of, I think, how I was able to move through grief is kind of really consciously trying to accept death, even though it feels very unnatural to me. So I think part of my criticism of the longevity movement, or like the immortality movement, is that I like see myself in it, but I see this part of myself that I'm really trying to like talk down like 24/7.
Right.
Like I'm in conversation with this
Right.
instinct, and I'm trying to move away from it all the time.
Because that part of you wants to survive at any cost and would sacrifice other things that might be better or more meaningful.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't live my life.
Right.
If I gave in to every impulse to protect myself, I wouldn't do anything.
Right. You can't start living until you just accept that you're going to die, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just clinging to something.
Yeah.
I feel that. Oh, David, it's interesting. Someone in the chat just quoted David Foster Wallace. Everything I've ever let go of has claw marks in it. It's a good quote. And he had a great, Consider the Lobster starts with a great piece about porn. And him going to the AVN Awards. You go to all the awards and stuff, right?
I do.
What is that like? Like, does it feel like the Oscars?
I was at one of the award shows last night, so this is fresh.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Cool.
I've never been to the Oscars, so I wouldn't know if it feels like the Oscars.
Yeah, I guess does it feel like the way that he framed it was that there, and it might have been different in that era too. I think in a lot of ways porn has become more mainstreamed in a good way, where it's not as like underbelly. And one of the emotions he like clued in on was that the porn stars were often throwing it back at people. Like they were like, yeah, like I'm going to go to hell, but all my friends will be there. And there was this kind of like, yeah, like society doesn't like us, but we're all in it together. But I feel like we've kind of gone past that. So does it feel like more of a pure celebration now?
I definitely think that there is still a tremendous element of throwing it back. I think that I would say the most kind of striking part about last night, which was the XMAs, so it's XBiz Awards, and there was one scene where one of the performers was a recently fired university chancellor, and
Whoa.
yeah, I would love if we could look up his name. A recently fired university chancellor who was fired for participating in the adult industry. And
This guy's a man for all seasons.
yes, and he won this XMA award, and he went up and he accepted and he gave this beautiful speech about how much he believed that everybody should be able to be who they are and do what they do. And it was really kind of a beautiful experience. And he was kind of an older man who was relatively new, it seemed like, to adult, at least like I had never encountered him before. But he gave this amazing speech. It was so amazing to see him win this award. The crowd went absolutely wild. Like people were like standing up for him, clapping, screaming. People really responded well to it, and it was really cool to see. And that was definitely the highlight of the night.
That sounds empowering too. Like they're almost trying to bridge that gap that I was kind of speaking to.
It was very empowering, and I definitely think that right now pornography is such a hot button issue, and I think that we're kind of experiencing a bit of like a regression in terms of people's relationship to pornography. So I wish I could say that, you know, nobody feels like it's an us versus them thing anymore, but people really do still feel that.
Yeah, that actually, now that I'm thinking about it, you do see that like with a lot of the like no fap stuff that kind of has gone louder and stronger, and it's like a version to porn that it's all about like retaining your seed, and pleasure for pleasure's sake is bad and weakening, and then I mean, like, how do you feel? Like, so I have my own history with it. I'm like a porn addict. I've been in and out of recovery for like 15 years, and there's times where I've felt like when I've been in meetings and I've been like, guys, I think we're being too hard on ourselves. And there's other times where I desperately needed it. Like I got to a point where I was like suicidal just because I was living my life in way too hedonistic a fashion. So I definitely see both sides, but like, do you see that there is like deleterious effects to porn watching?
I think that the conversation around porn addiction is really interesting. I've had kind of a change of heart, I would say, with the concept of porn addiction. A few years ago, I was kind of like, I don't know, I guess like a bit of an edgelord with it, or I was very kind of black and white on the concept of porn addiction, and I was very loud about it kind of quote unquote not being real, which I think is an element of the discussion that happens, and definitely something that comes often from the adult industry. And I think that kind of what that means specifically is that, and I do believe this, pornography is not inherently addictive. It is not an inherently addictive material.
Right, it's not crack or something like that.
It's not crack, exactly. There's no like porn, not even once, like kind of thing going on. And I think that it's important to maintain that, because there are a lot of kind of often Christian far-right organizations that do make that argument that pornography is an inherently addictive substance, and not even once can you watch, you know, a pretty girl take off her clothes, and it's like, you know, it's all downhill from there. People really make that argument, and I really disagree with that. I believe that pornography is not an inherently addictive product. However, I do recognize that a lot of people struggle with pornography consumption. That is undeniable, absolutely. And for me, I think that like I want to kind of give space for that, those experiences and those struggles that people do have with pornography addiction. But for me, I often kind of compare it to something like food addiction, where I believe it's so much more kind of influenced by the shame around sex and pornography and the relationship that people have with that, with the concept of them being sexual people, with them consuming pornography. It has so much more to do with that than it does with the kind of, again, like porn being an inherently addictive product. And similar to something like food addiction or disordered food consumption, you got
to learn how to do it in a healthy way.
You have to learn how to do it in a healthy way. And learning how to do it in a healthy way, learning how to develop a positive relationship with food, and I also believe with pornography, is in many ways about kind of removing the power that has over you.
Yeah, it's stigmatizing yourself is unhealthy. That was an issue I did have with, because I do credit recovery with pulling me out of my darkest moment, but there were times where I thought it was hurting me because I just kept reinforcing this idea that I was like bad, and that if I did this thing, I was hurting myself. And at a certain point I was like, I think it's hurting me more to keep telling myself that than to just do this, than to just have a problem, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was like a kind of intersecting point.
Yeah.
But I do still grapple with it. I see both sides. Well, so what do you think when, and I've heard you talk about this a little bit, but if you could amplify on it, like when you hear Tucker Carlson ask Nick Fuentes, like, and watching porn makes you gay. What is that?
And that's such an amazing quote.
I love that quote too. Yeah, that's the one quote I took away from that podcast. Yeah.
What does that even mean? I love it.
Yeah. He's like, what is that?
I want that on a shirt.
Yeah.
But I do. When I was watching a ton of intense webcam porn, but I just kept looking for a bigger hit, and then so I did look at gay porn a little bit. It didn't work for me. I found it to be just not erotic. But I did see an addiction. A lot of dudes who were straight guys, they were like, I'm straight, I have a wife. But I went so deep into my sex addiction that I ended up sleeping with trans hookers and stuff like that.
Right.
And I think they attributed that less to them being more
Gay
queer and more to
yeah.
them being deep in an addiction that was causing them to chase bigger
Which I think is fascinating.
highs.
And I actually think that's such a sad way to look at it.
It is too, because again, it's also saying like, well, so trans people are like riskier in some way, so it's giving me a bigger,
like
it's putting a value judgment on it.
Like
yeah,
like
exactly.
It's a very bizarre kind of like escalator they've built around people and sleeping with people. Yeah, I think that is really a shame, because I would say that something that pornography offers is the ability for people to explore their sexuality without having to involve another person necessarily right off the bat. You can kind of
it's
test
like practicing
the
in the
waters.
dojo a little bit before you take it to the streets.
Or just like exploring, like being able to explore kind of the rich vein of human sexuality that can be really fun and interesting and at times strange. And I think that that's something that I really love about pornography. I think that's one of its best qualities. And I think to have an understanding of you kind of maybe exploring what works for you and interpreting that as something that is, bad or evil or wrong or that's hurting you, I think that's a real shame. I think that's a real missed opportunity. I also think, I understand that because people develop dopamine fixations on pornography because it is a highly stimulating product or material. Mm-hmm. I understand the kind of like belief that if somebody is really leaning on pornography as an element of depersonalization or distraction, you might be looking for something quote unquote more intense to trigger that feeling, and that can kind of develop that like escalation approach. But again, I think that is a result of somebody really deeply needing distraction, needing to feel kind of surprise or needing to feel this like high stimulation that isn't inherently about pornography. Like people have that same relationship with other forms of media, with other stimulus, and I think if you are looking to really kind of escape your life with any kind of material, I think that is something that should be explored, but I don't think that that's something that is inherent to pornography consumption. And I also I do encourage people to give themselves a bit of grace when it comes to watching porn, and also maybe watching porn that they didn't expect themselves to like or be interested in.
Sure.
I think that's okay. you can be weird, and it's actually really normal to be like a little weird about what you want.
Do you think that, because there's all this discussion about banning porn and stuff like that, like the Tucker Carlson thing, do you think that what's really needed is just a cultural shift where it's a little more open, and because basically what you're saying too with risk, heightens eroticism. So if we ban it, it's kind of like prohibition. Like it probably, do you think it'd worsen the problem?
I think it already has. Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, thanks.
I think that, all of the attempts that are happening right now to control pornography are really empowering, the elements of pornography that ostensibly they're trying to snuff out. Like, for example, I think age verification bills are a great example of this, because the only sites that are complying with age verification bills are the good porn sites, the porn sites that are interested in, following the rules, in ethical practices, in doing best by their consumers, and following the laws, et cetera, et cetera. And who's not complying with age verification bills is all of the tube sites that are filled with illegal, stolen, unconsensual content. So, it's not like people are not going to be watching porn. People will always be able to find porn, but these bills make it very difficult for companies who want to do it properly to do so. It actively decentivizes that.
Why is that?
Because are you familiar with the age verification bills?
Of course, yeah.
It's
kept me from logging on a couple of times.
Well, that's exactly what happens, is, a lot of people are very reasonably not comfortable with giving their full government identification to.
And you have to do a
random
face
sites.
scan, don't
and
you?
have to do, very, very invasive,
way,
biometric
just
scanning.
Your face,
Exactly. And
even a horn dog like me, I'm not doing it, dude.
Just
I'm
in bed.
sorry. Yeah.
No, and I think that that's entirely reasonable. I think it's a tremendous government overstep. Many of these bills have, little to no regulation on what these often third-party data collection tech companies are allowed to do with that information. It's very scary. It's truly, it's going against so many,
and so the scary part
rights.
is that it's building out this surveillance state.
Yes.
But is it also because they're surveilling you at your most vulnerable? So the amount of leverage they would have on you is basically unthinkable?
Yeah, well, I think that it is apt to be nervous about a government that is pushing this data collection, this bio data collection, and at the very same time, passing these bills, these legislative processes, and also making it very clear that non-normative sex and sexuality, queer sexuality, trans people, anything to do with that is not only heavily frowned upon by the government, but often potentially criminalized.
And politicians have said that, right? That the superficial plan is to build in age verification so that they'll keep minors from looking at porn, but their actual intention is just to make porn illegal.
Yes,
or to
that's very transparent. They have said that openly. That's part of Project 2025. Many things in Project 2025 have already gone through. Politicians are very, very open about how they just want to make porn illegal, which I think is fascinating, because it's also, the government and the legal system has never been able to effectively even decide what pornography is.
There's that Stuart Potter
term.
quote, right?
I
just know it when I see it. Yeah.
And
Jinx.
Exactly. And that is, a huge part of this is, what is classified as pornographic. And right now what we're seeing is a lot of direct correlation between just trans people existing, or kind of gender non-conformity existing, and pornography, or the obscene, quote unquote. So a great example of this is the drag ban in Texas a couple of years ago. Initially, when they wanted to ban drag, it was labeled unconstitutional, because it is freedom of expression. And then they kind of went back and they retooled it to be an anti-obscenity bill, and that passed. So it's, what gets classified as obscene has always been highly politicized. Back in the 1950s, it was gay people, it was interracial marriage, all these kind of, at any point, quote unquote, non-normative sexualities or relationships have been labeled obscene. And as we're seeing, we're kind of slipping, I think, back into that.
And what is the effect of the age verification? How has there been an increase in porn consumption in those states, or are people just circumnavigating those sites now? Are there any studies on that?
It's very difficult to track that.
Yeah.
A lot of people are using VPNs. They want to ban VPNs as well, which is extremely dangerous. Huge overreach of government surveillance. VPN services, a lot of people are just going on illegal sites filled with non-consensual content. But it's very difficult to track. And this is also kind of the thing that's really difficult is kind of, as you both mentioned, is that, like with prohibition, it's not like it actually changes anything. Everything just kind of goes underground. And that's really not, I think, the direction that we should be moving
in. So you're worried that if we do put this system in place where there's age verification across the board, not only will it be unethical in terms of the surveillance it builds for the government, but it'll also push people to go to sites that have more unethical porn on them.
Yes, absolutely.
And then, and one of the sites that you mentioned as being more ethical is Pornhub. You mentioned that they make everyone sign a 2257, which is some kind of app. Is that the correct?
Yeah.
number?
So, I mean, Pornhub is really interesting. I used to work for Pornhub at this point forever ago. And when I worked for Pornhub, it was quite a controversial site because it was unverified. So
this is what I want to talk about, because Layla Mickelwaite, I'm sure you're familiar with her.
Very familiar with Layla Mickelwaite.
Yeah, and so she's been on Theo Vaughn and Chris Williamson, and basically said that there's tons of genuine sexual assault content on Pornhub. There's underage people on Pornhub, and she had one really potent quote where she said, "It's not a porn site, it's a crime scene." But then I've heard you and Siri Dahl on another podcast talk about how Pornhub is actually doing things by the book. So I was just kind of curious how you would address it.
At one point, about 5 years ago, which is when I worked for Pornhub, and it was controversial, even kind of interpersonally for me. But I'm definitely big into kind of the concept of internet freedoms. And at points in my career, I've been a bit more of an edgelord about that, and I've labeled myself more of an internet anarchist, which I don't necessarily believe anymore. And part of that was to do with I worked at Pornhub when it was unverified, and definitely when Pornhub was unverified, it was a tube site. It was an aggregate site, so it hosted a lot of pirated, non-consensual content because it did not require verification from uploaders. You just needed an email address. So people would, pull from other sites, or people would upload, non-consensual content, et cetera, image-based sexual abuse material is the correct term. And then 6 years ago, I guess now, Pornhub made it so that now it's completely verified. So everybody requires a 2257. If you're in the video, you've signed a 2257, which is the model release and consent form. Everybody needs photo identification. So it's now a very highly monitored platform where everybody has to agree.
If it's on there, there's some kind of ethical framework.
There are multiple frameworks to make sure that people who are on there have consented to.
Well, so without making it trashing her, then is she just speaking to an outdated kind of?
You can trash her.
I don't want to make your thing about her.
Don't be scared of trashing her.
But she was talking about these things recently. But you're saying or I guess I'm saying that's a outdated thing that she's talking about.
It is. It's tremendously outdated. It's also, Layla Mickelwaite has ties to Exodus Cry. I think she's fully involved with Exodus Cry. And
what's Exodus Cry?
Exodus Cry. It was at one point it was a a purity organization, sexual purity organization. They classify Swimsuit Illustrated as pornography. They used to have a contract that they would offer as materials that, you know, it was anti-masturbation, anti-sex. It's a very deeply anti-sex religious organization, and absolutely it's very frustrating to see how little that motivation, that obvious motivation, factors into this rhetoric that she's spewing.
I have a question that might sound dumb, but it is something I've wondered. Backroom casting couch, is it legit, or are they actors?
They're actors.
Okay.
They are actors. Everybody's an actor.
Because you're talking about the verification process, and I was like, you know, there's
everybody's an actor.
There hasn't been many uploads as of late, so I'm like, I wonder if, you know.
No, I mean, the casting couch is fascinating because it is like an entire genre of pornography. That is obviously built on like this idea that this is the thing. This is where it gets messy, because it's like I try not to like shy away too much from porn criticism, because definitely the fact that like the entire genre of casting couch, which I like the genre of casting couch.
Me too.
Yeah. But it, you know, hinges on this idea of like somebody being like tricked. And
yeah,
so like,
you know,
it's like it's a bit like, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff about porn that's a little bit, and I think that like how I approach it is from the strong belief that I think that pornography is a reflection of human sex and sexuality. And I think that can be so beautiful and interesting and transformative. And I think that there are a lot of elements of human sexuality that we haven't addressed that are, you know, not to use the P word, but problematic, or just, you know, influenced by dominant power structures, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I guess you're suggesting too that ethical porn isn't necessarily the sex it's depicting, it's how that porn was made.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are so many different conversations around like what is ethical. I think that you can really kind of go broad with it, and say that, you know, like anything that lends itself to like any kind of recreation of power structure is unethical. Like somebody could make that argument.
I mean, they do about like, you know, non-pornographic film as well, right? Like they'll be like, oh, like the Dirty Harry was like a fascist movie, or even like Ferris Bueller is just like a kind of a Reagan dream of like no responsibility.
Yeah, and people make that type of media criticism all the time, and they're welcome to do that with pornography as well. I, you know, maintain that I kind of like the casting couch stuff, but everybody is welcome to have like to draw any lines that they want to, you know. I'm not going to force them to watch it, but definitely I think when people think about ethical porn and porn ethics, for me that is like a labor rights conversation. My personal definition of ethical porn is pornography that's been produced ethically.
And what's your view on porn if you're in a relationship? Porn consumption if you're in a relationship. What do you think is acceptable? Do you think you should talk about with your partner?
I think you should talk about it. I think people have really kind of vastly differing understandings of pornography and comfort levels with pornography. I think that it is something that you should talk about pretty early on, because there are some people that view watching pornography as cheating. And, you know, personally, I don't believe that, but also people can draw any boundaries they want for themselves and what they look for in a partner. And that's just kind of up to you and who you're trying to be in a relationship with.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I don't want to go into. I don't know if she.
Tell us, come on.
Weird conversation, but I don't know if she wants me to talk about it.
That's fair. You don't have to reveal her secrets. I can talk. I can talk about it.
But I was just like, you know, I was like, it's not, if you're, to me, I'm like, if you're in a relationship and you're watching porn, it's not, it can be because you're like, have a wandering eye or whatever. But my thought was like, you just want to see it to heighten the pleasure. It's not because you're searching for something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think if you watch like a Heat, I don't think you want to rob banks. You know what I mean? There's a thrill from watching like the theater version of it.
Yeah.
And that's like expertly done.
That was my view on it.
Yeah, it's a fantasy.
Yeah.
And I think that some people also kind of use pornography as a tool in their relationships to kind of like amplify sexual desire, or if they're like not really feeling in the mood but they want to be in the mood, maybe you can watch a little porn. A lot of couples watch porn together.
I've tried that. It's never worked.
No.
I find that my partner never likes what I like watching.
No, well, that's the risk.
Yeah. And then I'm like, it's almost like when you show a friend a movie and they don't like it. Yeah. And it makes you not think it's a good movie anymore. And then you're like, never mind, this is mine.
Yeah. Well, I think that here's my tip for any boys watching that want to watch any men watching.
Yeah. It's a good reframe.
Whoa. That want to watch porn with their girlfriends. Try to see what your girlfriend likes first. I think that you really have to go with what she's into and maybe like take it from there. Don't like come in hot with the like, I watched one once where it was a hentai where she was in an elevator, sorry. She was in an elevator, and the higher the elevator went up, the bigger her boobs got.
Wow.
Until
that's cool.
they were like just like unbelievably big, and then when the elevator went back down, they like shrunk again.
It's like a cool Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Exactly. Which like obviously I'm like,
I'd watch that movie.
Yeah. I'm 10 years into like being in this industry, so like what I now like kind of watch or have a general understanding of is like definitely really niche, and I definitely would not be like, hey, you want to watch what is in my my search history?
But you made a really cool point that, especially now with just how many different versions of porn there are, that like the really high level porn is actually not as sexualized as just regular porn, that it becomes so much more about the niche.
Yes. Yeah. This is something that's really interesting, and I think it lends itself to this conversation of how difficult it is to classify pornography in legislation, is because, when you get into fetish pornography, something that I've noticed in kind of researching kinks and niche porn is that when somebody first starts out making pornography for a fetish community, it'll be pretty recognizable as kind of quote unquote normal porn with an element of fetish. I usually talk about giantess pornography when I talk about this, because often when a creator is first starting out, it'll be sexy. It'll be like an obviously sexy video. Maybe the giant woman will be naked, or she'll be like rubbing the little guys on herself. It's adjacent to sex in a way that you can recognize. And then often when you kind of go deeper and deeper and deeper into this fetish, for example, with giantess content, it becomes, this something else entirely. Like it's often non-nude. It's often much more about like things like, for example, soft vor, which is about eating the little people, and it's stuff that you can put on YouTube. Technically, a lot of it is on YouTube actually, and it's pornography. It's actually it's somebody going deeper into an understanding of the porn community they're serving than they had before, but somehow it's becoming quote unquote less pornographic.
Yeah, it's like that Foucault quote where he said, like, with sex, I'm trying to turn my whole body into like one sexual organ.
Kind of. Yeah. You're trying to turn that giant lady into a sex organ or something.
Foucault. So do you, in your estimation then, when we're talking about the government being restrictive around this stuff, do you think they would ban stuff like that too? Like if it was just a girl in a bathing suit eating food, and there was guys who were into that for the sounds, the visual, whatever, the shame around, whatever the combination of stimulation was, would they ban that too?
Well, I think that's where it gets really tricky, is that how would you even draw that line? you know, how do you draw that line without making it illegal for, you know, any tall woman to post on the internet? Like, like it's like with all of these decisions of like choosing to censor this type of content, that type of content, there is such a ripple effect of it affecting so many other people, kind of just like by the nature of how difficult it is to actually kind of like word this legislation.
Do you think there should be any legislation around AI porn or sex robots, stuff like that? Or do you think...
I hate AI porn.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll see ads for it and I'm like, why would I watch this? I guess I could understand. It's maybe if it's like an animated thing, it's sort of like anime maybe, but...
Keep talking. You might find your way to it, baby.
Yeah, I mean,
you're getting there.
Just a nice animated, beehole.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds nice,
It
actually.
was designed exactly to the metrics you like, too.
Yeah.
I talk a lot about AI porn right now. It's like kind of what people want me to talk about. I did a debate in Chicago last fall for Substack about this, about kind of, I was debating with the argument that AI will not take over the porn industry.
Oh.
And that people ultimately want a human connection out of even their pornography products. And that is my stance, and kind of you're proving my point, so thank you so much, is that people want, again, like there's no risk in interacting with something that you have generated to, as you said, your exact specifications. Like an interesting conversation I had with somebody is, you know, if something can't say no, then it's not a good yes.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
what's fun about getting a yes is that they could say no and they didn't.
Yeah.
With AI, it's like they can't say no, so what's the point of the yes?
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and it's also like if you use like a fleshlight or something, you're not in love with the thing. You're still fantasizing about a human being.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
and that's
there's
their
still
whole business.
Yeah, there's still a connection to Asa Akira.
Yeah.
Yep.
Emma Magnolia.
Who?
Shout out. Emma Magnolia.
Oh, nice.
One of the Fleshlight girls and a friend.
Oh,
Sweet.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know Asa?
Yes, I do.
Cool.
Yeah.
She's talented.
Because Asakir is one of the main kind of Pornhub ambassadors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, I'm a little bit more skeptical. I think AI porn is going to kind of win the day. I think maybe because we're of a certain generation, we're attached to the human element. But if you grow up in this AI porn normalization, that it might not... Because I remember growing up and people said the same thing about the porn that I was raised on, but there's no human element. It's not the same as going to get like a chick at a bar or something like that. And it was true, but it still was, popular, and me and a bunch of other people watched it all the time. So I don't know. I think the fact that it's on command and that you can revise it to do what you want it to do, I know it won't have that human pop, but I think there's a lot that consumes somebody there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what's interesting is, I think that's a fair point to make, but I actually don't think it's totally accurate. Because something that I like to do, kind of like as my role as quote unquote porn historian, is kind of track porn cycles, like trend cycles in pornography that are quite cyclical, the same way that, fashion trends or other industry trends are. And something that's really, really interesting is that when aggregate site pornography, free porn, tube site porn became popular, people were making the same argument where they were like, why would the porn industry exist when there are terabytes of free available pornography? Like, it doesn't make sense economically for anybody to pay for porn ever again. Like, the math does not add up, and people really believe that would be the complete downfall of the porn industry. And kind of on paper, if you do the math, it should have been, but it wasn't. The porn industry prevailed, and in fact, the biggest competitor that ended up kind of emerging to Pornhub in terms of household name pornography is OnlyFans, which is specifically a paid model of porn consumption that hinges on interpersonal connection. So like when a model is selling
that's interesting
their OnlyFans page, often it'll be like, this is the only place you can talk to me.
The human connection is what makes it more appealing than traditional porn.
Exactly. So actually, you know, we had the same prediction with aggregate site porn. It kind of quote unquote should have erased the porn industry entirely, and instead kind of like what replaced that is people paying to connect with somebody.
Right. So you think the technology will just buttress a new version of porn that just heightens our need for human connection?
I think that it is inspiring kind of a rebellion in people, and even kind of like when I talk about
Luddite porn.
AI, kind of like I think
the girl will be churning butter, the guy will be working the hoe, and then
that's
cool.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that does sound erotic.
So what do you make of Grock and their recent legal difficulties with people doing deep fakes and just a lot of
Grock is so disgusting. What I want to say about Grock, I cannot have on the record, frankly. The fact that they are producing child sexual abuse material on a major mainstream platform and facing no retribution for something so disgusting, it really makes me so angry. And this is further.
Can you explain quickly what happened with Grock?
Yeah, so people are asking Grock, which is the AI, to undress children on the platform, and Grock is doing it.
Or people they know.
Oh wow.
People they know, underage children again, and Grock is doing it. So Grock has generated a tremendous amount of child sexual abuse material, image-based sexual abuse material, and what it does is they just like post a screenshot of quote unquote Grock apologizing, and then Grock continues to do it.
Really?
And by Grock I mean X.com continues to generate child sexual abuse material.
But they've said they're going to put guardrails on it, right?
They fucking better.
Yeah, but what's interesting
and it's
about
too
the
late.
tweet,
like it's like they've where like
the toothpaste is out of the bottle. Yeah,
they have generated child sexual abuse material. Like how are we allowing this?
But
like
isn't
it's
that
disgusting?
I don't disagree with you, but it's interesting to me because you're like a supporter of Section 230, right?
Yes.
But isn't that the legal framework that protects these? So I guess it's implicit with AI yet. That hasn't been like judicially decided yet. But with like social media sites or places where third-party content or user-generated content is available, that's what protects them from getting sued for stuff like that.
Right, but what Grock is developing is not user-generated content. User-generated content is people asking for something, making the request. That is what's protected under Section 230. The product Grock, the mechanism Grock, is owned by X.com. That has ownership, and that is part of the platform. That is the platform's doing. The what it generates is not user generated.
I think it's so interesting because that's why I just did that video about that. My example was terrible, but like Wikipedia or AI can call Jeffrey Epstein a sex trafficker, even though he was never formally convicted in court. But newspapers aren't allowed to call him that. So it didn't really make sense to use that as like the wedge on it because everyone knows Jeffrey Epstein was a sex trafficker and no one has much sympathy for him. But I do find it interesting, this judicial debate that's going to come up, whether AI will be protected by Section 230, because I think the websites will, or the AI companies will argue, it's not generated by us. It is generated by an amalgam of user content.
I completely disagree with that reasoning because it just...
No, and they should. I mean, with the deepfake thing, it's completely not true.
Yeah, it's just not true.
Because they're the ones who have the engine that's making it happen.
Yes. And I think that if there is...
In that instance, I think they will lose because it's just so ugly.
It's disgusting.
But I think they'll be protected overall with Section 230.
Which it's really... which they're trying to amend purely based on, again, this like kind of puritanical wave right now.
It's Chuck Grassley, right?
Yeah.
Who's like 92?
It's a lot of them, and they're all 92.
He's 92, this senator.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's still like... He's still out there he's trying to regulate the internet. He's 92.
Yeah, let's get you to bed.
He might be right, but
He's like, ban AOL.
I don't think he's right, but like he's like look at him.
Get rid of AOL.
Yeah.
No more dial-up. It makes all that wonky noise in the house.
Ask Jeeves. I'm not for
Ask
it.
God. Don't ask Jeeves.
Don't ask Jeeves. Ask God.
Yeah. That's why it's a really it's just such a murky thing. It'll be interesting to see how it gets worked out.
Yeah, I am very pro regulating AI, for the record, and I'm a huge supporter of Section 230, and I do not think those two things operate in opposition to each other.
Yeah. I guess what's interesting to me too that I think is in support of what you're saying is that the AI companies got protected on copyright.
Yeah.
Because they said basically we're taking from so many different sources that you can't like demand copyright to any one thing.
Which is such insane logic where it's like, well, you can't persecute me because I stole from too many stores. Like, what are you talking about?
And they would phrase it differently, but they would basically say it's such a salad that it's like, it'd be like if someone wrote a book and was inspired by 50 other books. Like they wouldn't owe copyright to that. Mm-hmm. But it was a little dubious, but they won that case. But then in this instance, they're almost making the opposite argument that like they're like, oh, it's completely copywritten. It's totally somebody else doing it.
Somebody else did it. Yeah.
And that's why we can't be in trouble for it. And they might win in both instances with opposite arguments, which I guess just is like just crazy how the law works. But
it's crazy how the law works when you have a lot of money.
Yeah. And everyone's behind you on it. So you worked for Brazzers. You were a writer.
I was a script writer.
And then, so would you write in like final draft?
No, we had like a template that I would just like fill in.
And you
kind of lo-fi.
And your favorite thing was porn parody?
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed writing porn parody. That's how I got into the industry initially, was because I had written kind of like for other areas of like the sex industry, but I used to do some stand-up comedy, and
you did?
I did.
Oh, we do stand-up.
Yeah, surprise. We're talking about some really serious stuff, but sometimes I can crack a joke.
Did you go to Yuck Yucks?
No, this was in Montreal.
Oh, good scene up there.
Yeah. And I just love porn parody as like a genre of comedy. It's so silly. I also love it because like when people take their clothes off, people do not give a fuck what you write. Like it's like the ability for people to suspend their disbelief when they even think people could maybe be taking their clothes off. Like they are willing to go some really weird places with you. And you can just do some really silly stuff in porn parody. And that is kind of like what the genre is all about, is that it's really silly, it's really kind of dumb, it's gonzo, it's funny, it's like, it's not too serious. And yeah, I treasure porn parody as an art form.
And what do you think is like the best porn parody that you've been a part of or that you've seen?
Oh my gosh. I was not a part of this. I am just a fan. But so many things that Wood Rocket has done. Are you guys familiar with Wood Rocket?
No.
It's a studio. I don't know if they're still producing, but years and years ago they had a film come out called The Loin King.
Oh, nice.
And it's a parody of The Lion King, and it is a musical.
Oh, that's awesome.
And at some points they have like really great costuming, and at other points they chose to go a completely different route. So like somebody just has a shirt that says snake on it, and it's so funny. It's like genuinely such a work of art. I really encourage anybody watching this to go watch The Loin King.
And who do you think was the best porn star at delivering dialogue?
I can't answer that. Those are my friends.
Oh, okay, copy. You want to pick favorites? I appreciate that. I am curious though. Someone had a really good question in the chat. They were saying, if they're not someone who actively watches porn, why should they care about this age verification law?
Such a good question. Let me tell you why I should care. Even if you don't watch pornography, the chances that you like something that could be defined as quote unquote obscene, or the terminology that they're using around pornography right now is harmful to minors, and that is very broad. the term harmful to minors, extremely, extremely broad, can be applied so many different ways, has been applied to kind of political conversation, to news. And that's, I think, kind of where we're getting into really dangerous territory, is that this kind of new understanding that it is totally fair and fine for these tech companies to be collecting your bio data and doing God knows what with it. It's not just going to be applied to the porn industry. It already hasn't been. The UK's Online Safety Act, again, quote unquote, harmful to minors, has been applied to some adult sites, but also many other sites, X accounts, Discord servers, et cetera, et cetera.
So you don't support COSA. Do you know at all if this, I know Australia just banned minors from being on like social media. Do you know if that's had a positive effect, negative effect? Is there data on that yet?
I really have a hard time with anything where the government is deciding how parents should parent their children, how people should parent their kids, what people should have access to.
Right.
Generally speaking, I think anything of that nature is a government overreach of, I believe that it is in parents' best interest to be able to parent their kids. I do not think that we should let these government systems raise our children. And this is kind of like the conversation that happened initially with internet freedoms in the 90s when...
Oh, this quote was incredible. Can you do the quote that they said when they first tried to regulate them?
Oh no, it's like so long.
It
is beautiful.
It was like, you will never govern us. We are landless. We are bodiless. We are lawless.
Yeah, it's
we
awesome.
are freedom. And they basically said there will be no more nationalism because of us.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
they really
yeah.
thought they were going to create world peace. It was a nice...
Yeah, the utopia of kind of like what people believed the internet could be was really beautiful at one point. And yeah, this is like a quote from the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which still does exist. But at that point it was... so awesome. It was like a bunch of hippies, like I think somebody from maybe Grateful Dead, I forget. But yeah, just like what a fantastic group. But even beyond Electronic Frontier Foundation, there was so much pushback from parents around regulating the internet because they argued that this was government trying to parent their kids. And now I would say that the propaganda around, the internet and pornography, et cetera, has been so strong that I feel like we've kind of forgotten that. I don't see as much pushback the same way that we had in the 90s.
Maybe we take it for granted because we've lived with just kind of so much freedom around it. And
Yeah.
maybe it'll take the pendulum going the other way for us to kind of want to find a new sweet spot for it. I guess for my last question, do you feel like porn has contributed to the male loneliness epidemic that we hear so much about?
I think contributed is a very vague word.
Do you think it has made it worse?
I think that what is contributing to the male loneliness epidemic is mostly a very complicated social situation we've developed. I think that pornography has been kind of used as the scapegoat because I think a lot of young men are...
I think you could point to like our earning power coming down, being more contributive to that loneliness.
and I also think that
and that could spike someone wanting to watch porn too, as a kind of escape from just the material reality they're in.
I think that people are using pornography as an escape from reality, but I don't think that means that pornography is why they want to escape reality. Like, if you are feeling pretty good about your reality, you tend to not want to escape. And I think that is more what we should be focusing on. And I think that kind of this, like, the male loneliness epidemic thing is really interesting because I think it is kind of this, like, buzzword that gestures to kind of a lot of different issues that are happening. I also think it's interesting because young men, 18 to 24, are more in support of regulating and actually preventing access to pornography than they ever have been. So there's this real movement among young men actually to not watch pornography, and I think that is indicative of a very complicated thing that's happening with young men and their relationship to sex and sexuality.
I loved your Substack on the male loneliness epidemic that you wrote like a month ago, and the part that was really fascinating to me too, and like so like just compassionate, and you nailed on something I hadn't heard, that like when you go to these porn conventions, a lot of the guys who go are like disabled, neurodivergent people, like people who are men who might have trouble connecting in the real world for whatever reasons, and porn is actually like a wonderful outlet for them to feel connection or to develop some muscles in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's why like kind of like the buzzword of male loneliness epidemic, like sometimes I struggle with, because kind of in that piece I talked about having like a bit of a hard time with like people throwing around the term online. Particularly, I think that it's kind of like a gotcha moment sometimes for people online to be like, they're not lonely enough, or like
oh, like when women come down on dudes because it'll be like a video of a guy being like a piece of shit out in the world,
and like video of a guy being a jerk, and all the comments are like what happened to the male loneliness epidemic, like they should be more lonely, and my thing is like, this guy isn't lonely, like this guy, like the guy that's being like an absolute jerk to your sister, like your brother-in-law that you hate, isn't lonely. Like those guys are married, like there's lots to unpack with that, and like why that can happen. But like, you know, so often even those videos, there are videos of guys being, you know, shitty to their wives.
Yeah, it'll be like Gavin Rosdale cheated on Gwen Stefani, and people are like, this is why men are lonely.
Yeah, I'm like, this guy's not lonely. He's got 2 girls.
It's like this rock star who can do whatever he wants and lives without consequences. Yeah, he's kind of a butthead sometimes. Yeah. But like, yeah, it's not emblematic of most men. These guys aren't
lonely. Like, that's not who we're talking about. That's not who we should be talking about. Like, and I think that there really is an issue with, you know, a lack of community between men. And I think also that's kind of, we're seeing a lot of these kind of like red pill, very reactive spaces really take hold of a lot of young men, because they're communities, you know, like everybody wants a community.
Totally.
And if you are looking for community and that's where you find it, that's where you will find it. And I think that that's something that we're kind of not addressing, is that like there really is a lack of community. There is a lack of support for so many different people, like people that are falling through the cracks in terms of like support, society support, interpersonal support. And I think that is worth addressing.
Yeah. Thank you. And do you think there was this idea in Victorian England that they repressed everything sexually because it actually made everything erotic? Do you think that's part of this like conservative agenda against porn? Is that actually by making everything taboo, they're actually just building up their own like counter, like their own oppositional sexual energy a little bit?
100%. I mean, I think even before, when we were talking about Exodus Cry, that's a great example of that, where Exodus Cry is tremendously anti-pornography, and they believe Swimsuit Illustrated is pornography. Like that is a great example of that, is that when you kind of demonize something so strongly, you begin to see it everywhere.
Yeah. And then it's just going to turn people on more too. They're just going to be like, oh, this is crazy. Yeah.
And that's the risk. People will be too horny.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like, what creates a more like unsafe sexual environment, like repression or like total exposure? And I do think probably you don't want absolute either.
Well, I think that such another great example of this is tentacle porn, where the origins of tentacle porn being that, you know, at some point in Japan, they made it illegal to show genitalia, to depict genitalia. So artists were finding, you know, all these different other ways to gesture towards the penis. And as a result, we have a thriving, subculture of tentacle rape aficionados.
Yeah, and Japan is a place that is at least assumed to be, from my, outside perspective, is pretty repressed. And then their porn does tend to be the most unique, to put it non-judgmentally.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's so much conversation about that because a lot of it is kind of like early colonialism that influenced legislation around, again, kind of depiction.
You think it was like the Marshall Plan?
I don't know. But it is interesting, and I think a lot of places that have kind of like rules and regulations specifically about like what is and is not allowed to be depicted, what we see is like the development of like almost like these like cottage fetishes within that, because like people will desire, like if
yeah, you can't regulate out desire. It becomes really like a whack-a-mole, and sometimes the moles get weird. I feel healthier after having this conversation.
Yeah,
I feel a little more. I feel more integrated as a person.
That's really nice. I think that it's so interesting. Do you feel healthier?
Well, one thing that really spoke to me was like, it's okay to be weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think my family wasn't they weren't too strict, but I think I felt some shame by not wanting to disappoint them. Mm-hmm. So I think it's not like they were like, my mom's like pretty open and she's very sweet, and my dad's very sweet too. But I think is not wanting to like shame the family. So I think any kind of weird urges or desires or fetishes I had, I don't really know, but like I think I would look at those and be like, that's bad.
Yeah.
Because you could get punished for it, you could get ostracized. That's why movies about repressed gay guys are always the best, because you're like, I understand that yearning.
Yeah.
That I'm scared if I'm totally seen, people will kick me out of the tribe.
If people know how much I like the butt.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
I'd watch that movie though, brother.
Heated rivalry mentioned.
No. I was talking about
that show. It's a good show.
For me, the female, but for
sure.
But all love, all
but same goes. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like I do a lot of like analysis, like sex and culture analysis, and I like to say, sometimes I joke that I'm sponsored by Big Don't Worry About It.
Yeah.
Because I'm really like an advocate of people giving themselves grace, even though, a lot of my work is on a macro scale, kind of like analyzing these issues that we have with sex and sexuality. But I'm of the belief that, on again a very macro scale, we've done something kind of weird. We've gotten ourselves into a pretty weird situation with sex and sexuality. We many of us have somewhat Puritan religious upbringings. That's complicated. There's so much that goes into sex and sexuality that, again, it is difficult to unpack on a macro scale, and how that has played into, on a micro scale, how you interact with your own sexuality. It's complicated for everybody. It is
super
often
complicated,
a bit strange for everybody, and everybody's kind of
and
wrestling
contradictory
with it.
A lot of the times.
Very contradictory. And I think, everybody I know has a very complicated relationship to sex. Like, it is normal to be kind of weird, because again, like, we are existing in this world where we have made sex into something a bit strange.
It's like how the dude I know who works in ICE is married to a Mexican chick, and every black dude I knew who was like militant ended up with a white chick. I'm like, what is going?
I can't comment on that.
I made it.
You made it into a.
I made it big and wild and pulled too much into it.
You took it into like a weird race area. But.
No, but I'm just also saying it's interesting to me that like to the contradictory nature of like sex is that like you can with all your heart feel this way in this direction, and then something else in you can go the opposite direction in a very significant way.
Yeah, and like you can love something in person and want something completely different from like, you know, what you want to watch other people do. Like you said, just because you like a heist movie doesn't mean you want to rob a bank. And we don't have to hyperanalyze why we want to watch a heist movie and what that means for us day to day. And do we have to tell people that we like heist movies, and what does that mean for how we interact with people? Like, I really want people to give themselves a bit of grace.
Yeah.
That's a nice message. And then, sorry, Cream Jeans asked a great question. What do you think is the difference between the male gaze and the female gaze?
Thank you, Cream Jeans.
He's a genius.
That's such a great question.
He's one of our most devoted watchers, listeners, heavy commenter.
Beautiful.
And for our podcast guests, if Cream Jeans approves, that's a huge...
Cream Jeans, do you approve?
Cream Jeans, you got to approve. You got to approve.
Put you on the spot.
Here we go.
Yeah.
He approves.
Yay!
A lot of
Thank
exclamation
you, Cream Jeans.
points.
I love your username. I think that that's such a good question that I wrestle with a lot in my work, particularly over the last few years, because I still sometimes do script writing, and again, I kind of started in these like super mainstream studios, doing very gonzo stuff that is absolutely like for dudes. And now, just because of like the company I keep and like the circles I'm in, and also just like kind of like my own interests, I've definitely worked with more kind of like quote unquote like for women studios. And I think that that's really interesting, and I kind of struggle with it sometimes, like the kind of like differentiation of like porn for women. I have a hard time with, because like personally as a woman, like I love like the gonzo stupid parody stuff.
Sure.
Like the like super blown out early 2000s studio, like the casting couch, the bang bus, like I like that
It's
stuff.
like SNL. It's like what you were raised on will always be your favorite.
Yeah, and like that's really what I have a soft spot for. And so like I don't love like the kind of like gendering pornography. Like you can like whatever porn you
Right,
want.
you're not a monolith. Like there's a million different tastes within
Exactly. And
within
like
women.
I often find that the genre of like quote unquote porn for women tends to be pretty classically like a higher production value, like a slower pace,
better lighting,
better color grading, often.
Slower pace is key.
Yeah,
That's
slower
something
pace.
I've learned.
like
for sure.
warming her up a little bit and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely like kind of an intro, but I also think that so much of that is more to do with the fact that not as many women watch porn. So like I think it more speaks to kind of like statistical unfamiliarity with porn that lends itself better to like somebody enjoying something that's a little bit slower pace, that's a little bit higher production value, that might look a little bit more like, you know, the sex scenes in movies that they might like. And I think that has more to do with it than like gender, although it is gendered in like in terms of still like men consume and purchase pornography at a much higher rate than women do.
Yeah. Well, get your numbers up, ladies.
I agree. Get your numbers up, ladies.
This was really, I feel great. I feel like you Tetrised me in a really good way. Pieces are fitting together better.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I feel like it was so funny, and I'm gonna out you a little bit, where we were like on our way up here, and you were kind of like, "We're gonna fight. I'm gonna fight you. You better be ready. You better be ready for we're gonna have some tension. I'm gonna challenge you." And you've been so delightful.
Oh, okay, good.
You've been like so nice.
we might have had other ones where I had to like cut something or something.
Right,
so
right.
like I just I didn't want to surprise anybody anymore.
That's
No, I
hilarious.
appreciate that. I appreciate it. It's just funny. You really
yeah,
really
I
set
might have
me up.
oversold.
Yeah,
the competitiveness.
He didn't want to tell you that I'm the one who brings the heat.
Yeah. As
Yeah.
soon as the cameras are gonna, you're gonna.
Yeah. I'm like, well, I disagree. Let me
Yeah.
tell you why.
Actually,
Yeah,
the Lord is
actually.
watching this,
Yeah,
and He
yeah.
told me that.
Yeah. Oh man.
Well, thank you so much, guys. You can check her out on Substack at Noelle Perdue. She's written for a ton of huge publications like Slate, The Washington Post. And so, yeah, check out her stuff. You're a great writer. It's really
Thank
fun
you
to read
so
your
much.
stuff. So,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Guys, this episode is brought to you by a new sponsor I'm so pumped on, Talkiatry. Talkiatry, what is it? It's online psychiatry. So let's say you're trying to get to see a psychiatrist. You're stuck in waitlist. You know, you don't want to go into an office. You don't want to go through the whole rigmarole of trying to find one in person. This is fully online. You go online, talkiatry. You can talk to a psychiatrist. Let's say your anxiety, your depression, your ADHD are more than a rough patch. You don't just need another medication app. Okay, Talkiatry makes it easy to see a psychiatrist online using your insurance in days. Therapy can help, but sometimes it isn't the whole answer. Okay, so what Talkiatry, there's therapy, but Talkiatry is psychiatry. So you can actually talk to a psychiatrist and get the prescriptions that you need to help you get over or get through anxiety, depression, whatever it may be. Talkiatry is awesome. Fully online. Huge supporter of them. I'm so pumped they're supporting the show because they're geared towards boosting stoke. And I freaking love it. All their 600 plus clinicians are in network with major insurers, so you can use your existing insurance instead of paying monthly subscriptions or out-of-network fees. You'll meet with an experienced licensed psychiatrist who takes the time to understand what's going on, builds a personalized treatment plan for you, and can prescribe medication when it's right for you. Your care stays consistent and evidence-based. Getting started with Talkiatry takes just a few minutes. Complete a short online assessment, get matched with clinicians who fit your needs, and schedule your visit in just days, not months. Okay, more than 300,000 patients have already found high quality psychiatric care through Talkiatry. So pumped on Talkiatry. Head to talkiatry.com/go deep and complete the short assessment to get matched with an in-network psychiatrist in just a few minutes. That's Talkiatry, TALKIATRY.com/go deep to get matched in minutes. I'm thinking about getting a salad at Whole Foods with arugula after this. Maybe some tuna. And guys, you got to check out our new YouTube series. I'm so pumped on it. You know, just we're doing the pod. We're doing this long form stuff, and it's it all is just firing me up. You know, two channels of stoke just funneling together into one amalgamation of froth, and that is something that I'm just fired up on. Stoked to see you guys in the chat. You guys are all so great in the chat. We got Cream Jeans, of course, Smoking Ganj, Chadwick Bushman, Young Mango Jewel Pod. Dude, great name. Mingemonger, what up? I saw Skeletal Schlong in there. You guys watch that Bears-Rams game? Holy tomatoes. Guys, I you know, you guys all know I'm a lifelong Rams fan. You know, since the day I was born in a Rams jersey, but I got to be honest, I wanted to see the Bears win yesterday. I love Chicago. I love the Bears. I love Joe. I love Chudwin. And I just think it would have been really cool to see them win. But, you know, kind of bittersweet because I'm stoked to see my Rams win, so that fires me up. But dude, that last pass with Caleb Williams, oh my God. That was incredible. I was on the plane, and this was actually pretty cool because most of the time when you're on a plane, it blows. We all know, you know, but there were fans all around me. We were all watching the game. And when Caleb made that pass, here we got JT coming back in. What's up, dog? Dude, I was telling when Caleb made that pass, I was on the plane. I was literally like, you know, in Big Daddy when he's trying to watch the hockey game while the kid's sleeping, and they score a goal. When he caught that pass, I was like, whoa.
Dude, I did the same thing, bro.
Dude, it was unreal.
Oh shit, I just swacked I was with my two kids.
Yeah.
I was with my two kids, and I was like, oh my God, oh my God,
Dude,
oh my God.
It was unreal.
It might have been the craziest. I mean, I'm always a prisoner of the moment. I was like, this is the craziest play I've ever seen.
Yeah.
When he dropped back 20 yards, I'm like, there's no shot.
It's done.
It was so incredible.
Just tossed it up right into his hands.
Right in the bread basket.
Yeah.
Should we try and call Joe? Let's give it a shot.
Did you talk to him yesterday after?
No, I called him right after the touchdown, and he was taking a piss, and he was like, that was amazing.
Yeah,
he's like, you got to get down to the pig. And I wanted to, but I woke up too late. I didn't call him afterwards because I knew he'd be hurting.
Yeah.
Should I just try him real quick right here?
Yeah.
Or is that too cruel?
No, don't do it.
Yeah, it was wild. And you know, I really wanted the Bears. I've been so wrong on the Bears. I've been saying all season they suck and that they were like overrated. And I didn't know if Caleb had it. And you saw some of that with like Caleb. He is like all over the place. Maybe the most entertaining player of all time, good and bad.
Yeah, that interception, you're like if they had won that game,
it'd been incredible. Because I think them versus the Patriots would have been the best Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
like it would have been awesome. But dude, I just hope it's not like Seattle, Denver. No disrespect to the Denver and Seattle fans. I got Seattle fans mad at me because I talked about the last time they were good on the pod, and I said with Matt Hasselbeck, totally forgot about Legion of Boom and Russell Wilson. A huge brain fart on my part. I'm very sorry to the Seattle fans and anyone who cares about sports. But that would not be a good Super Bowl, Seattle, Denver. I might not watch.
Yeah.
That might be a tune-out one.
Denver is no-go now with Bo Nix out with the broken ankle.
That's crazy. I watched the highlight of the play where they think he broke it. It was like, it didn't look like much. The doctor who did the analysis online was like, I didn't see anything here that would suggest a tibial break.
And poor Josh Allen, man.
He played bad. He missed some
I didn't
throws.
catch the game. Yeah.
He had a throw. It might have been. That game went OT, right? Yeah. He had a throw in OT to like Dawson Knox.
Yeah. Like
down the seam that like he just missed him, and it would have been a tutty.
And what do you think of like that? There's that controversial play with they ruled it an interception.
Yeah, I didn't see it live. I think by the letter of the law, it was an interception. But I think the letter of the law is wrong sometimes. Like that sounds dumb, but like if you're watching that, like that's a catch, bro. Like he caught it, he was down on the ground, then the other guy ripped it out of his hands. Like if you were playing backyard, you'd be like, you can't do that. Shut up, dude. That's a first down. Come on.
And they fired the coach. Which I was surprised by. Why do you think they did that?
I mean, 3 straight playoffs where you could argue they should have made it to the Super Bowl and they didn't. At a certain point, if you don't get over the top, you're gone. I think it was probably the right move, honestly.
I saw people calling for Belichick. Do you think Belichick would go to the Bills?
I think that's a bad move. I think he's too long in the tooth. He's like in his 70s. I would go with someone younger.
Yeah.
And also he's going to just bring such a... And I think he got more intense about it the older he got. He's such like a dictator leader. You have to have like tremendous buy-in from the team. And I just don't know if he could pull that off right now. I think guys like him and like Popovich, I think are like the greatest coaches ever, but I don't think they exist if their best player isn't as selfless as they are. Like Tim Duncan and Tom Brady made it possible to be a great coach because they bought in completely, and that made all the other guys follow suit.
Right.
Someone asked how I feel about Tomlin. I cried a little bit. I have tremendous respect for Mike Tomlin. I thought he brought class to every situation, even when it was like impossible to find. We had a lot of crazy characters on the Steelers, and he was just always a steady hand on the wheel. And I'm grateful for the 19 years. I know we had a tough run in the playoffs the last decade, but I could not have been more thrilled to watch him coach the team, to have him as our coach for so long. 3 coaches in 55 years. What a tradition. Best job in sports. The best job in sports.
And dude, I was while you're gone too, I was talking about the new series. I'm just so pumped on the new series.
I'm loving it, dude.
Yeah.
Helping some bros.
I was watching a cut of the upcoming 4th episode, and I was just crying laughing on the plane.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And Candy was watching with me. And she was seeing the visuals, and we were just cracking up.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
And the celebrity guest he's unbelievable.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been a lot of fun. Well, how was the trip to New York? I didn't hear more about it. I haven't talked to you since.
We did the 9/11 memorial on
nice. You love
I love tragic,
a big museum of death.
Yeah.
Because Holocaust is your number one in DC.
I do Holocaust. I was like, babe, we gotta go 9/11. Yeah, we just we stayed in Midtown. And then what we do the first night, we got in late, so we just hung out. Then Friday we did the 9/11 museum, and then we got a lunch. And what did we do after that? We did like a big sushi dinner.
Perfect. Did you do it in Brooklyn, or did you do
Soho?
Did you stay in Soho this time?
Midtown.
Okay.
We were on like Madison.
I always love the story, not to embarrass you, but the first time you took Kennedy out to New York.
Oh yeah, I took her to the Margaritaville Hotel. She still talks about that, and she's very sweet about it. She's like, "Look, it's a nice hotel. It's a nice hotel, and I got a deal. Nice hotel. I just hate the location."
Oh, that's very diplomatic.
Now I let her pick the hotel.
Smart. Yeah.
But dude, crazy thing though. Friday night is an old building. Is the NH something hotel, NH Madison, and late at night at 3 a.m. we start hearing this hissing. Steam is coming out of the vent, the AC vent.
What?
Steam was coming out,
Like
so we
you're
had to
getting
move.
poisoned by Putin or something?
Yeah, dude, we had to move rooms at 3 a.m.
Who do you think was behind it?
I asked the guy if it was Putin. He's like, dude, this is
Some anti-Stoke dictator like that?
yeah. And he's like, this has been happening ever since Mom Donnie came in.
Totally.
I'm not saying it's Mom Donnie. I think he's like, I think there's some bad actors coming in.
Right, there's just been a lot of change since he came in. It could be oppositional forces from
Yeah,
any
you
side.
just don't know who.
Yeah.
So
Did you watch Nick Shirley on
I was
Andrew
going to ask you
Callahan?
about that. Dude, he seems like the dumbest guy alive.
I might have undersold how bad he speaks because he was on All In and he sounded pretty dumb.
Yeah.
But that one was like,
I was like, I can't believe this.
He
I was
was-
watching just clips. I was like, I cannot believe what is this?
he's come back out and said like Andrew chopped it that way to make him look bad.
Right.
So he's like, it's a 2.5 hour interview. How come it's only an hour and a half? And then like
Yeah.
Callahan was like, dude, are you serious? I literally cut it to make you seem smarter.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of I think what's his name I think Shirley will do a good enough job of convincing people who believe in his story to believe that Callahan did do him dirt.
Right.
But it's just it was pretty rough.
Yeah, it was. I just saw clips and I was like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah, it was.
He's benevolent.
What does that
Who do
mean,
you think is the most
benevolent?
benevolent billionaire? Most benevolent? Got to be Trump.
Yeah, it's interesting. I watched all the videos of him going to the daycares and stuff like that.
Oh, you did? You watched his whole thing?
I've watched like 4 or 5. Yeah.
So let me. So his videos that he made himself, does he sound intelligent or compelling?
He doesn't sound like super smart. Like he doesn't like, people are going to hate whatever guy I pick, but he doesn't present as well as like Anderson Cooper or like John Dickerson or someone like that. But, or even Alex Jones. He doesn't have like that wild charisma or anything, but no, he doesn't sound exceptionally intelligent. And you can tell like by some of it, like he's not using fact checks or comparative data, but the New York Times ran an article on November 29th before his video came out saying there was probably like $1 billion worth of fraud going on in Minnesota. So it just depends what you want to highlight.
Yeah.
I think I came up with a better metaphor for Greenland too. I try to do this as a man on the street bit. I try to explain the Greenland situation to a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
All right. So it's like this.
Did you do it this weekend?
I did, but dude, I was off my game. I don't know what it
really?
is. I forgot to record a couple audio wise and stuff like that.
damn.
Just to,
Do you have some clips though?
I think we'll have some, but like the 2 best ones I probably didn't get. But but the visual is funny.
Yeah.
Of me just explaining it to.
Do you think you'll reshoot it?
I might. Yeah. So basically, it's like Greenland is sitting on like a warehouse full of Trenbolone, which is like the strongest steroid.
Yeah.
But they don't want to run it because they're all natty and they know it's bad for their body. And then their dad, Denmark, they're not into it either because they're into like less aggressive pleasures. But the Mr. Olympia is coming up.
Yeah.
And China is running like a full stack. Like they've got Tess, Anavar, HGH, and they've got a ton of Tren, and they're just blasting it and they're running it clean. Like their stack is so far ahead of ours. So us, America, we're on a D stack. We've got some Tess, we've got some HGH, but we're like, yo, Greenland, start selling us that Tren or don't be surprised if we get aggressive, bro.
That's awesome. So you record them, but you didn't have audio?
I didn't have audio on a couple of the good ones. And dude, honestly, I went to Gold's Gym in Venice.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Bodybuilders are so sweet.
Yeah.
They were like terrified. They were like, dude, what are you saying to me right now?
Yeah.
And then some of them were cool, but a lot of them were just like, it's interesting. Bodybuilders are yoked, but they're very gentle people. And so they I would actually say like a random Joe at like a library is easier to kind of like get to flow with it than a bodybuilder sometimes. Yeah.
Mike O'Hearn, he goes there all the time.
He'd be great.
Yeah.
There wasn't as many jacked people as I thought I was going to see. I know you've been there with Moscow, right?
Yeah.
There's some for sure yoked people, but I thought like...
You thought it'd be everyone.
I thought everyone would be a bodybuilder.
Yeah, you do have like every type of person, but the people who are jacked are like exceptionally jacked, and you see a lot of jacked women there too.
Totally. There was some freaky, in a good way, buff chicks. I went to a bodybuilding gym in Burbank because it's closer to me. Good looking guy, owner guy running it. I'm like, hey man, let me shoot a video with you. It's like I do this thing. He's like, yeah man, no problem. Just give me a second. Then a pretty girl walks in to sign up for the gym.
Yeah.
Bro, he took 2 hours to sign her up.
Really?
And he's like, I'm like, dude, can we shoot this thing? He's like, hey, dude, I'm signing up a client, bro. But then I would hear what he was talking to her about. He's like, yeah, this guy wants to shoot with me.
Oh,
I was like,
hilarious.
he was like using me to make himself look cool. And he was talking to her about like EDM fest and like everything under the sun. I'm like, dude, please. He's like, dude, I can't do it. And I was like, all right, man, I left before I shot it. It was, maybe I should have waited for him. I honestly, these other guys I found were better, but like, it was one of those moments where I was like, I should shoot this. I should get the best clip possible. My pride means nothing. Do your job. But then part of me was like, I think this is like bad for me as a human if I wait 2.5 hours for this guy.
I mean, that's a long time.
It might not, it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours, but.
Did you watch The Rip?
Dude, one of the greatest movies ever made.
I watched it last night. Awesome.
It's amazing.
It's awesome.
There's some of it where like, I'm like, they shot CGI. I'm like, did you need to do that?
Yeah.
Like there's a scene on the beach, which I think is like a fake beach. And I'm like, what? You didn't have a beach you could shoot at? But overall, I fucking loved it, dude.
Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, is there any better duo in history?
No, they're the coolest.
I mean, and I was trying to get Kennedy to watch it because she knows I love heist movies. I love war and heist. She loves murder and, ghosts. I love ghosts too. But I was like, we got to watch The Rip. Watch it. And like 20 minutes in, I look at her. I'm like, it's good, isn't it? She's like, yeah.
The way they talk is sick. All the actors are good.
Yeah.
I think Joe Carnahan's a really good director and writer. And you know what surprised me? I got emotional at the end.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a scene with one of the main guys and how he was talking about something. And I got to be vague because I don't want to bust it up for anybody. I got a little choked up.
Yeah.
He's a fucking good director, that guy.
I love that they said in Miami too.
Sick as hell.
That got me fired
Most
up.
movies should be there, especially if they're going to be that style.
Yeah. The Rip. The way they talk too. I mean, especially Affleck. Like, I think they were cast so well because Affleck can play that rugged, like,
screwy,
cop who's just like, yeah. And then Damon had like a tinge of like nerdiness to him.
Yeah.
Which I thought played so well.
Yeah, there was like a little bit of the bad guy from Interstellar in him, like a little bit of like, is this guy sneaky kind of stuff?
Yeah. Oh man, so good.
What did you think? Brooks was saying like he was making fun of it because it like restated the plot a couple times during the movie. Especially there's like one extended scene where they literally explain everything that's happened before.
Yeah.
But it includes some twists and stuff. I actually like that.
Yeah.
And Damon said you have to do that for Netflix movies because Netflix is like, hey, you have to restate the plot because people are passively watching.
Yeah, it didn't bother me while I was watching it.
Yeah, I actually was smiling ear to ear.
I did see that clip before I watched it, so I was aware of it. But yeah, I watched that. I was like, that gave me everything I wanted and more.
Have you watched His and Her, the John Bernthal show on Netflix with Tessa Thompson?
No, should I watch that?
I like it a lot.
Is it a murder mystery?
Yeah, and I like his character a lot.
Yeah.
He's like full Bernthal in it. I'm digging it.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
He's 50. He looks great.
I watched Wolf of Wall Street again recently.
I mean, one of the greatest movies ever.
Yeah. It's so good.
Him in it?
Huh?
Him in it?
Oh, yeah.
Bernthal?
Bernthal, yeah.
Tank.
You get some pussy with that thing?
Dude, have you noticed how pretty the stars look in LA lately?
Like in the sky?
Yeah.
No.
I think because the rain cleared out the smog.
Oh.
So for the last week, it's like the first time. I've never seen them this clear.
That's cool. I'm going to look up tonight.
Yeah, you go for a walk and you're like, whoa, there you are.
Yeah.
They're hidden from us all the time.
I know. Rogan always talks about that. He's like, when I saw the cosmos on Mount, was it in Hawaii? Whatever mountain that is.
Kilimanjaro?
I think so.
There's no way that's it.
No, it's like Kilauea or something. Mount McKin. Nope.
Joe said, I don't know. Joe Maurice, I texted him to see if he wants to come on. I don't know. I don't think I'll be entertaining today. Godspeed, brother. Yeah. I can't help myself. Kauai is beautiful with the mountains.
Yeah.
So epic.
There's
Pointe Beach, dude.
Dude, yeah. So I think, just looking at, I want to get like a telescope.
That'd be cool. I could see you being super into that.
Yeah.
And just like searching for different stars and stuff.
Yeah.
I think you can also like name a star after someone. They'll give you like a certificate.
Mauna Kea. Yeah.
That's the good one.
Yeah.
Halakala.
How is it the tallest mountain in the world? Is that because counting the ocean?
I think so. I think they
The
count
ocean
the
depth?
underneath on that. I remember my teacher in grade school saying that, tricking us.
Do you think Galileo, his fetish was getting sucked off while looking at a telescope?
Oh, for sure.
Sick.
I think he could also. Hold on, I wrote one down that she mentioned in a pod. Hey guys, I don't want to flex, but I walked Noelle to the elevator, and she said she's done a lot of podcasts where dudes were douches, and she said Chad and me had good vibes.
Oh, that's sweet. Sweet. Tell her thank you.
She mentioned some interesting niches of sexual fetish, where I was like, dude, I didn't even know that would be a thing. Like dropping a marble on your toe or something like that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, but like stuff like that.
I love cream jeans. Like cream jeans has a way with the guests. Kevin Etten.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and Brad Fuller, two heavyweights in Hollywood. They're desperate for cream jeans approval.
Because he runs that roost, he's top dog.
Yeah.
Wait, did Cream Jeans' criticism was she didn't smile enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, she doesn't smile.
He's like, bad vibe. She hasn't smiled once.
That's old school. That's old school dude misogyny.
Yeah. Why don't you smile for
Why don't
me?
you smile, pretty lady?
Yeah,
why
yeah.
you look so glum? Yeah.
Cream recognizes cream.
Dude, I will say, this isn't misogyny, but there was a lady at my kid's daycare who had the side-by-side stroller and had like two kids, and she was trying to get through the door, and I went to just help. I was like, oh, hey, like to open the door so she could get, and she was like jammed in there. Like it was going like opposite way. And then she was like, I got it. And I was like, lady, at a certain point, your independence is getting in the way of like how we're flowing here. You might have to let me just pop the door.
It's true.
Nice lady though.
I got that call though.
Chad and JT, what up? It's Landon calling from North Carolina. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I've got a loaded question for you boys. How long would it take you guys with the conception that there's no expiration date? You can live here, you can do whatever you want, exercise, and it's not a race per se, but how long would it take you to eat an entire grocery store by yourself? Again, no expiration dates. You don't have to eat the aisle with like the notebooks and stuff where, they have like the third party stuff off to the side. We're talking just straight edible items, produce aisle.
That's a good question.
Dairy,
back for this.
the bread aisle. The bread aisle is going to take us a while. You know what I mean? So how long would it take you guys to finish an entire grocery store by yourself? Love the pod. Been listening for years. Thank you guys so much for all the laughs throughout the years. Cheers, and can't wait to hear this question answered soon. See ya.
Sick.
It's a great question.
Great cue. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about how quickly we go through food in my house. I would say a year.
That's rock solid, brother.
I think a year. It's tough.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I think you could do it way faster.
You think so? I thought I was making it too short.
No, I think like 2 weeks.
You're right. Yeah, that bread. Yeah, dude, you're right.
I go through like a loaf a week, bro.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you are like the loaf master.
I am the loaf dude. The loaf lover.
You gotta think about like all the sweet stuff. Like, can you do all the cosmic brownies and the fucking Twinkies?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, I only shop at Raw Market, so I mean, right out the gate, as long as I got my portable grill with me, I'm probably working my way through all that steak fairly quickly.
Oh, dude.
And it's all animal product,
Oh, that's
because my skin wasn't looking good, so I just started drinking raw milk, and it also, cured my niece's autism, and then just pounding T-bones and drilling ribeyes, and because it's just like it's just all animal products, That's where I get my fats and my protein from.
Dude, that's honestly the sickest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, thank you, dude. Yeah.
What about booze? How fast are you going through the?
Yeah, I'll drink a little bit. I'll drink at night. I'll do half a shot of tequila because it doesn't have the same depressive qualities as other alcohols, and it comes from good agave that I know is ethically sourced, and the proceeds go towards helping Navy SEALs get haircuts, and then
It's a good cause.
yeah, I could probably go through all that tequila. I do a shot at night. You don't want to do more than that because then it can be bad for your thermogenesis. You stop burning calories at rest as much.
So tequila doesn't have as depressive qualities?
No. It's kind of in between categorization in terms of its dopamine effects.
What has the least depressive qualities?
Just breathing.
But of like booze.
Oh, of booze. The tequila for sure.
Sick.
Yeah, that's probably the only one. And but it's hard to get it. You got to get it from the right source. You know what I mean? I go to Conquistador Cacti Productions, and they do a great job. Yeah.
Good dudes.
Yeah. Big ups to Mac O'Malley. He's one of the best.
Good guy.
He also recommended me to the Tijuana stem cell place where I get my my knees and my back and my
dude, every time you go
done.
there, you're like a brand new man.
Yeah, they take really good care of me. Yeah, it's where the Caesar salad was invented. So I go down there. It's the one Caesar salad I allow myself to have.
Sick.
I got one more beef.
Yeah, what kind of beef you got?
My beef is with big nitrogen. So last week I found out that we are breathing in 78% nitrogen and only 21% oxygen.
Fuck.
Why does everyone say, bro, you need more oxygen? Or like you go up in the mountains, they're like, it's because there's no oxygen. Bro, it's 78% nitrogen. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I need more nitrogen. Right?
Are we breathing in too much nitrogen? I got to be honest with you, man. I wasn't aware of this.
Wait, so nitrogen's actually the top dog, but oxygen takes all the cred?
Exactly.
Yeah, so oxygen only makes up 21% of what we're breathing in the air. It is 78% nitrogen. But it seems like, here's what it's saying. Nitrogen acts as a diluent, preventing oxygen from being too concentrated in the air we breathe. The nitrogen we inhale doesn't react with our bodies. We exhale it unchanged, unlike oxygen, which is used for cellular processes. So it seems like nitro is like corn, bro. You just poop it out whole.
I agree with you, Jake. Nitro should get some more
love. Oh, okay.
Some more love, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just people aren't talking about it enough. It's like everyone wants oxygen, but like nitrogen is the primary.
And it would be sick if people were like, dude, you need more nitro.
I think we were going to do this when we drafted Elements with Dolph Lundgren, and then it was just like impossibly boring. So we pivoted into just like, what were the 80s like?
Yeah, how was Studio 54?
Yeah, exactly. That was cool. Those are good stories.
Oh, man.
Yeah, good times, guys.
Thanks for tuning in, Stokers.
Wait, how was the show at the Bell House?
It was fun.
It was fun?
Cool. Yeah.
How was the
nervous.
setup?
It was cool. It felt like it was the right setup for that kind of show.
It did. It felt better than doing it like
it was like more stage. So
that's great.
I was nervous up top though.
Of course, but the audio visual stuff was better too.
It was great. Yeah, and
perfect.
Like, they really like working with the headset mic to fine tune it, which was cool.
So when you did your sound check, it was like a little bit more detailed.
He was going through all the frequencies and stuff.
Let's go.
Yeah, it was cool. And then we went out to a club for a little bit. I had a shot of tequila.
You went to a club?
Yeah, she wanted to go out, so
that's fun.
The club just going like this.
Yeah.
It was fun.
We're in kind of opposite dynamics. Like after we did Santa Cruz, I wanted Elizabeth to come out with me to the club.
Yeah.
And we were outside. I was like, this band sounds the band was sounding amazing.
Yeah.
And she goes, it's gonna smell in there.
Yeah.
She's like, I'll wait in the car. So I went and danced for like 5 seconds.
No, we went there. The guy was playing like Eric Prydz. I'm like, this guy's playing my
that's
jams.
right up your alley.
Yeah. It's just so crowded. That's why you're just in there. You're like sardines.
You don't need it for too much time. I think it's good to get it. There's like a good energy from it, but you don't need to do it forever.
Oh, dude, I kept getting dogged too by, you just know club like rules and stuff. And like, if you're a dude, if you're online, you just get disrespected so hard.
It's insane.
so I went to go get pizza because I was hungry. So I went to get pizza. Kennedy and her friend went to the club. So I was like, I'm just going to get pizza. I'll be back. I come back. I'm in line to go in. I talk to the guy. I'm like, hey, my lady's in there. He's like, $150 minimum at the bar. And I was like, $150 minimum? And I'm like, can you just come out here? And she's like, he's with us. And he's like, all right. And then ordered tequila shots, 3 shots. When I ordered them, $92.
Jeez Louises.
I was like, what the fuck is this? She orders them, $35.
Oh my God. It is the one like real place where like you realize like as a man you have nothing to offer.
Yeah. I was just getting constantly disrespected. It was hilarious.
We went to when I first moved to LA, we went to Pally House.
Yeah.
And we waited in line for an hour and a half. And when we got to the front of the line, a dude who was dressed as like Jack Sparrow, but not Jack Sparrow, just like what he looked like. He just looked at like 4 of us and he goes, it's not your night.
Yeah, dude. It's the power that they have.
Oh, the disrespect, bro.
It's the disrespect. And then like, we were in line at this other place. And it's so funny seeing people come up to like interact with the bouncer. They're like, hey, like you remember me?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, can't do it. And there's a guy in front of us who I think he just didn't want to let in because it maybe like seemed kind of lame. And so we were just standing there in line for like
my heart's breaking
30 minutes. And the guy's like, hey man, he's letting people, people come up and he's like, oh, I know you, I let you in. So he's letting people in. And the guy's like, hey man, we're next, right? And he's like, it's going to be a minute. And then eventually the guy in front of me and his girlfriend, they just leave.
Jesus.
And then we get in right after that.
Dude, I was with years ago, I was with a friend who was a gal and we were just outside a bar and I was like literally telling the bouncer, I was like, bro, I will pay you to let me in.
Yeah.
And he just did not. And he never said officially no.
Yeah.
He just waited for me to go.
Yeah. It's the disrespect. I get it. You don't want it to be a dude fest in there.
You got to protect the vibe. You got to protect the ratio, bro.
Yeah. I mean, it's
it is crucial.
Yeah. And it's like, if that's your job, I get it.
But how do they all do the same face where they're all just like,
dude, yeah, you gotta stand like this. And
do
then,
they get trained in that? Like they all do the same one, city to city.
I think you just get so desensitized to it where you're like, you're just immune to flattery.
Yeah.
And then, but dude, the overcharging on the drinks was infuriating.
Oh, the markup's insane.
You're like, you're gonna charge me like 3 times as much because I'm a dude. Come on, man.
No, when we went to Vegas last time, the guy was like talking about bottle service. I'm just like, dude. And plus, they'll be like, all right, it's like $1,500 for a table and 2 bottles.
Yeah.
They're going to make you buy, that's the minimum. They're going to make you buy 3 more bottles.
You're spending like $10,000.
And then you got to tip like a crazy guy too.
Dude.
And you're just like, dude, it's just not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, just have a house party.
It is weird too, because like you do it when you're young and it is worth it.
Yeah.
But honestly, it would mean more to do it now.
Yeah.
Like it'd feel cooler.
Totally. Oh, man. All right.
Chad, when you podcast the way you do, when you come on here.
Man, it's like you just enter a state.
You're not there. You're there, but you're not there.
Yeah.
And there's a cost to that.
Yeah.
You don't pay that for free.
Yeah. When you a comedian.
A comedian. Think about what that is. To bring comedy to the Ians. Ian is an Egyptian word that means people beneath the pyramid. You bring that to them, but you got to climb down and climb back up.
That's my pain.
That's your pain, brother, and no one will ever understand it. So come see me at Chuckles this Friday for 20 minutes. Yeah. For 20 minutes.
Come see me at Bananarama in Hoboken.
Please do come see us at our dates, though.
Yeah. But, we got Bozeman coming up and Washington, D.C.
Buy tickets. Where are you at next with the show?
Chicago.
Bro, let's go.
The Den.
Is it sold out?
It's close.
Dude, go. Oh, Cream Jean's going to hit open mic for the first time. Do it, Cream Jeans. It'd be a brand new world, but you'd be a totally different person afterwards.
Flint, Michigan.
I'd like to come there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Moore's house.
All right.
All right.
See you guys later.
Later, bros.
We got a draft next week.
Mm-hmm.